Let's take a breath together. If we did nothing else than that all morning, we'd all walk out of here much more informed about life. Isn't that amazing? So this month we're looking at how to make the system act the way you want. We're looking at the awe, everyday wonder of work. And work, for many people, is a dirty word. For many people, we hear work and we think job. And for some people, job is actually a delight. And for some people, work is actually fun. And it may... That was interesting. And it may have absolutely nothing to do with the tasks that are part of their work. Uno momento, por favor. Instant change-o. There we go. When one thing doesn't work, we'll do something else. Okay, back to work, which all that was part of. Isn't that interesting? Now, here's the thing. We can look at that as a work problem, or we can just look at it as something that happened while we were at work. Right? What if we, because you do with whatever you want with that little moment of technical stuff, but I assure you it will occupy 0% of my thought for the rest of the day, because it's done, right? It's done. Today's talk title is Living Our Dreams. Now, most of us would not think about living our dreams in the context of work, right? Most of us think about work as something that is typically in the way of us living our dream, yeah? If I didn't have to go to work every day, I could live my dream. Well, what if, just on the possibility that there is some factual accuracy to what we're learning in quantum mechanics and quantum physics. Let's take religion off the table a minute. Let's just put science up for examination. What if what we're learning in that realm is actually accurate and you're responsible for what you're creating? Because that's what quantum physics says. That's not religion, that's physics. Right? It says that what you observe in thought shows up in your life. New Thought just happened to be ahead of the curve, as was philosophy, as were many religions, that they recognize that as spiritual principle. And just like every organization, personalities get in the way. And so every religion, and we're not exempt from that, folks. Science of Mind, Centers for Spiritual Living, is not exempt from the activity of personalities being enacted over principle. We're not. We're in the process of, even as I speak, of a special vote at the organizational level. And it's been really interesting to watch some of us stand in principle and some of us stand in personality, and to watch the two collide. And that's the work of an organization. It happens. Don't make nobody bad. don't make nobody wrong, makes everybody having a human experience, and practicing principle. Practicing. None of us have arrived at 100%, I got this mastered, never gonna have a human hiccup in my life yet. And if you think you have, just wait. Because life will show up to confirm that you still are very much in a human body. Because that's what we're supposed to be. Right? So what does it mean to live our dream? Well, first of all, I think we have to understand what a dream is. Right? Physiologically, a dream is brain activity that happens when we're asleep. So let's go with that. Let's go with that a minute. You have a dream while you're asleep. And you wake up going, yeah, that's it. That's what I want my life to be. Well, I submit to you that that requires you to have woken up. Right? To have an awareness that you even had a dream, you had to wake up. Right? So perhaps the first step in living our dream is to wake up. Is to wake up. I think the second thing that is absolutely critical is that we be very clear what the dream is. And most of us are profoundly confused between the what and the how. Okay? What your dream is very different than the how. So when we're thinking about, I'll use myself, my dream job, right, doesn't exist. But there are many, many jobs in which I can manifest my dream. My dream is to be, not to do, but to be 100% immersed in full-time ministry in a way that grows me, in a way that grows everyone that I interact with, and I mean everyone, the garbage collector, the clerk in the store, not just on Sundays, full-time ministry that compensates me in a manner that allows me to live freely in this human form. That's my dream. How that happens? Right now, it's happening here at Sierra Center for Spiritual Living. But that's a how. That's not a what. Right? And we get really confused about our what. What is your dream? What is it you want to experience? What is it that you want to manifest? Where you work, the job you do, that's all how. The what is going to show up. And that's why many of us aren't living our dream. We're not experiencing our dream job because we're looking for the how, expecting it to give us the what. We got the cart before the horse. And it doesn't work that way. Right? Let's take bowling. Right? Bowling can teach you how to live your dreams. Now, I know that might sound crazy, but it's not. Right? They have these magnificent things at the bowling alley called bumpers. Right? And if you know what bumpers are, they're these big things that they put in those uber magnetic gutters on the side. I'm convinced they have magnets in them, and at the center of every bowling ball is a much larger magnet that magically attracts that ball, wham, right to the gutter every time. So bumpers fill in those gutters. So you at least have a shot at getting the pins, right? That's what creation has done for us. It has given us a shot at hitting the pins. But what it's not going to do is when you release the ball, it's not going to grab it and go, oh, Rafe is way off track. Let me move the ball over here and line it up so he gets a strike. Creation is not going to do that for you. Creation is going to respond to exactly where you release the ball. And so if you release it on the side, it's going to go down the side. The bumpers in this analogy are spiritual principles. And spiritual principle, that's the impersonal part of creation. Right? And we get confused. I hear us over and over again, well, Spirit told me. Really? Get a phone call, text message, memo? What is this Spirit that speaks to you? We put God outside of us and give it a different name. We put creation outside of us and give it a different name. We're still putting it outside of us, and that's always going to be a problem. Stand in the truth that I heard. I heard. Not something told me. I heard. The voice within me said, do this. Because what that voice is within you is spirit. It's not outside of you. It doesn't tell you something. It speaks as you, within you, and you hear you. Right? You know the desire of your heart, whether you're aware of it or not. That's a whole different conversation. But you always know it because you are it. And when we begin to listen differently, when we begin to stand in the power of I am, things start changing. Those are the bumpers. You already are. You don't have a gutter in your lane. There's no place of failure. Because here's the good news and the bad news. Everything you think and believe shows up as your life. Everything you think and believe shows up as your life. If you don't like what is showing up, own that you are the one creating that and learn how to change it. We have this little phrase, change your thinking, change your life. And it sounds so simple, it can come across as dismissive, but I promise you, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. So if you go bowling and you know that there's no possibility of failure, are you going to roll the ball with more confidence? Of course you are. Because now the gutter's not even a possibility anymore. And so I invite you to begin to create from that same perspective that you cannot fail. You can fool yourself. Let's be really clear. You can fool yourself, and you can tell yourself you're creating X, Y, and Z when you're really creating A, B, and C because you're unwilling to examine your actual beliefs and you're just trying to sugarcoat. But you can't fail to manifest your beliefs. Right? We have a sign there on the back wall that says, "A world that works for all." And I wonder how differently we would show up if we understood that everything we do is work that impacts all. See, I don't care if you're a garbage collector or if you make dental floss for a living, you're impacting somebody's life. Okay? All hail the people who make toilet paper. All of our lives would be very different without that work. And how often when you're in the grocery store, do you shop with a consciousness of celebrating the work that went into what you're purchasing? The work of the chemists that came up with the idea, the work of the inventors, the work of the people doing it, the work of the people shipping it, the work of the people stocking it. See, I think if we all approached work from that perspective, we might feel a whole lot different about consumerism. We might do consumerism differently, and we might actually begin to find joy and celebration in our own job, no matter what it is. If we took a moment to understand that everything you do is in service to all of life. Let me say that again. Take this in. Everything you do, you are doing in service to all of life. Whether you're retired, whether you're actively working, whatever it is, because there's no place where we're separate. Now, I find that to be an amazing way to think about work. That every word I speak, every thought I think, every action I take is in service to all of life. Not just humanity, but all of life. The grass grows differently because you're on the planet. Sand blows differently in the dunes because you're on the planet. Remove you, everything changes. We all work together. I want to wrap up with this. We have this sign back here by the musicians, joyfully co-creating beloved community. What we need to understand is what we're co-creating with, because most of us think it's a who, it's a what. We're not co-creating with some personified spirit. There is no personified spirit. There's just consciousness that we call spirit. We use those words interchangeably. We're co-creating with principle. We're co-creating with law that operates exactly the same no matter who you are. When we hear the term impersonal, when Ernest Holmes talks about God, Spirit, Creator is impersonal, he's not saying it doesn't care. He's referring to the activity of creation that we call law, principle, that operates exactly the same no matter who you are or how you use it. Law is impersonal. It just operates. It just receives what you give it and goes to work creating it. It doesn't second guess you. It doesn't suggest that you take a pause and rethink it. It doesn't alter, it doesn't look at your blueprint and go, yeah, that part right there is a little bit off. It's going to make the whole thing a little wonky, so let me correct that for him. Doesn't do that. It just says, sometimes I need concrete human examples. So it's like my imagination is research and development, right? And my thoughts and my beliefs are the work order. And law receives the work order, and law is the manufacturing plant. And it has every possible material that is needed to manufacture whatever work order it's given. And so that's the impersonal nature. It just receives the work order. Here we go. Puts it on the conveyor belt, and form is the product. And law produces the product, and the product shows up as our life. And if we don't like the product, you can't send it back. See, unlike Amazon, you get your package, you open it up, ooh, no, thought that was going to be cool. Nope, send it back. We don't get to do that. But what we do get to do is go, that's not what I anticipated. Let me rethink this. And we go back to research and development. We ferret out our hidden beliefs. We ferret out what showed up as something we didn't expect, and we shift our thinking, we shift our beliefs, we send that new work order in, and voila. That's how we live our dreams. But first, you got to get clear what your dream is. And in order to even know you have a dream, you got to wake up. Let's take this into prayer. And so knowing that there is still only one everything, one allness, one singular substance, infinite possibility that creates out of itself, by itself, to be itself. I know that I must be that in form, exquisitely, uniquely, one of a kind, never to be repeated expression of a dream of the divine. That the divine is living its dream as me. And what is true of me is true of each and every expression of creation. The divine is living its dream as its creation. And knowing that we each are infused with the power to create that never stops. We are creating the life we live. And so I speak my word, claiming and affirming that we wake up. That we wake up with clarity and conviction and courage to risk everything by stepping into this is my dream. And holding that image and allowing it to manifest us. Allowing life to live us. And we celebrate. We celebrate each magnificent moment. We celebrate each messy moment equally, knowing that all of it is life unfolding as us. So grateful. So grateful to know that my life is equipped with bumper guards, that I cannot fail. And so knowing I cannot fail, I let go, I release, and I simply step into the activity of life itself. I invite you to join me as we say together, and so it is. Let's take a breath.